The lawyer's hands trembled as he handed me the rusted key, its jagged edges biting into my palm like a warning. This was her final request, he said, voice low, eyes avoiding mine. My wife, Eleanor, had forbidden me from setting foot on her family's farm for all 12 years of our marriage. It's private, she'd snap, her green eyes flashing with a ferocity I never dared challenge. Now, 6 weeks after her car plunged into the icy river, the lawyer's words echoed in my skull. She left you the farm. But you must go alone. My stomach churned. A cocktail of grief, dread, and something sharper, like betrayal's first bitter taste. What was she hiding out there, in that forsaken place she guarded like a secret? The drive to the farm was a blur of skeletal trees and frostbitten fields, the November sky pressing down like a bruise. My fingers gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, as Eleanor's voice haunted me. Stay away, Tom. It's not for you. I'd laughed it off once, early in our marriage, teasing her about buried treasure or childhood ghosts. Her silence had been a wall, cold and unyielding. Now, with her gone, that wall felt like a lie. The GPS pinged, pulling me from my thoughts. A dirt road veered left, barely visible through the overgrown brambles. I turned, tires crunching on gravel, my heart hammering like a trapped animal. The farm loomed ahead, a decaying relic of red paint and sagging beams. The barn stood apart, its doors padlocked, windows boarded tight. A faint smell of damp earth and rot clung to the air, mingling with the metallic tang of my own fear. I parked near the farmhouse, its porch creaking under my weight as I stepped out. The key burned in my pocket. Why had she kept this place from me? Why was it mine now? My boots sank into the mud as I approached the barn, each step heavier, like wading through her absence. The padlock was old but sturdy, the key fitting with a reluctant click. The door groaned open, revealing darkness thick enough to choke on. Inside, the air was stale, heavy with dust and secrets. My flashlight beam sliced through the gloom, catching glints of rusted tools, stacked hay bales, and something else. A tarp-covered shape in the corner. My pulse quickened. I moved closer, the floorboards creaking underfoot, each sound a gunshot in the silence. I tugged the tarp free, and my breath caught. A wooden chest, intricately carved with vines and flowers, sat beneath. It was beautiful, out of place in this rotting tomb. My fingers traced the lid, hesitating. This was hers. This was what she'd hidden. The chest wasn't locked. I lifted the lid, and the world tilted. Letters. Dozens of them, tied with faded ribbon, addressed to Eleanor in a slanted, unfamiliar hand. My hands shook as I untied the first bundle. The paper smelled of lavender, her favorite scent, and my throat tightened. The words blurred at first, my eyes refusing to focus, but then they sharpened. My dearest Ellie, I dream of you every night, your laugh, your touch. My stomach lurched. The letter was signed James. Not me. Not her husband. I sank to the floor, the letters spilling across my lap like blood from a wound. Each one was a knife, intimate, tender, alive with a love I'd never known. James wrote of stolen moments, of meetings in this very barn, of promises to run away together. My mind reeled, replaying our marriage, Eleanor's late nights at work, her sudden trips to visit family, her guarded phone calls. I'd trusted her, loved her, but the signs had been there, hadn't they? The way she'd pull away when I reached for her, her distracted smiles, her insistence on keeping this farm off limits. I'd called it quirks. I'd called it love. Who the hell is James? I whispered, my voice breaking in the empty barn. The letters dated back years, before we met, during our engagement, after our vows. My chest burned with rage, then froze with grief. Had she ever loved me? Or was I just the safe choice, the one she settled for while her heart belonged to him? I clutched a letter so tightly it tore, the sound ripping through me like my own heart shredding. Footsteps crunched outside. I froze, my flashlight flickering. The barn door creaked, and a shadow filled the frame. Tom. A voice called, rough but familiar. It was Maggie, Eleanor's sister, her face pale in the dim light. Her eyes widened at the letters in my hands, and she staggered back. You weren't supposed to find those. What is this, Maggie? My voice was raw, trembling with accusation. Who's James? She hesitated, her lips parting, then closing. You don't understand. she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Eleanor loved you. She did. But James, he was her first love. Her only love before you. Then why? I stood, the letters falling like ash. Why marry me? Why lie? Maggie's eyes glistened with tears. She wanted to protect you. James was troubled. Dangerous. She thought she could save him, but he dragged her into his mess. Drugs, debts, threats. She cut him off when she met you, but he wouldn't let go. He kept writing, showing up here. She kept this place secret to keep you safe. Safe. I laughed, bitter and hollow. She lied to me, Maggie. Every day she lied. She was scared. Maggie snapped, her voice cracking. Scared of him, scared of losing you. She thought if you knew you'd leave her. I stumbled back, the weight of her words crushing me. Eleanor, scared? My fierce, untouchable Eleanor? The woman who'd faced down storms and grief with a steel spine? I wanted to scream that it was a lie, that Maggie was covering for her, but the letters burned in my hands. They were real. James was real. Where is he now? I demanded, my voice low, dangerous. Maggie's face paled further. Gone. He overdosed 2 years ago. She never told you because she was ashamed. She thought you'd see her differently. The air left my lungs. I pictured Eleanor, alone in this barn, reading his letters, torn between guilt and love, hiding it all behind her sharp edges and secret smiles. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to forgive her. I wanted her back, just to ask why. There's more, Maggie said, her voice barely audible. She pointed to the chest. Under the false bottom. My hands moved before my mind caught up, prying open the wooden panel. Beneath it, a single envelope, unsealed, with my name in Eleanor's handwriting. My heart stopped. I opened it, my fingers numb. Her words were hurried, smudged with tears. Tom, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry. I never deserved you. James was my mistake, my shame. I kept him from you to protect you, but I know I broke us. I love you. I always will. Please forgive me. The letter slipped from my hands, floating to the floor like a dying leaf. I sank beside it, my vision blurring. Maggie knelt beside me, her hand on my shoulder, but I barely felt it. The barn seemed to close in, its shadows whispering Eleanor's secrets, her regrets, her love. I wanted to burn the letters, the barn, the pain. But I also wanted to hold them forever, to keep her close, even in her betrayal. Outside, the wind howled, rattling the barn's loose boards. Maggie's voice was soft, tentative. What will you do now? I didn't answer. I couldn't. The farm, the letters, Eleanor's confession. They were a puzzle I'd never solve. She'd loved me maybe, but she'd loved him too. And now she was gone, leaving me with a key, a chest, and a truth that cut deeper than any lie. I stood, clutching her letter, and stepped into the cold night, the barn's shadows trailing me like ghosts. The farm was mine now, but so was her betrayal, and I'd carry them both until I broke.